Welcome to DasGeek. We are here to take a look at the Bowers and Wilkins PX series headphones. Now, on this channel, we have covered a lot of different headphones. I'm an audiophile wannabe, I want to say, but I've maintained since the beginning of this channel that one of the greatest gifts I ever got myself, one of the greatest gifts you can get someone or get yourself, is a good, high quality pair of headphones. Whatever the max is in your budget, that's what you need to spend on headphones. Don't just go with the ones that came prepackaged with your phone. Don't go with the ones that cost $10 at your local supermarket store, but go and invest in a high quality pair of headphones because it's going to change the entire dimension of your music that you love. Now, I have a very wide palette of music. I like everything from movie scores, symphony, all the way to rap and heavy metal. So everything and anything in between I listen to, and I need a pair of headphones that can keep up with that listening experience. We've checked out, of course, the AKG 702s, the Sennheisers, the Sony WH-1000 series that so many people love. Those were very good headphones, but one of the things that they kept doing to me, and the reason I had to get rid of them, if you've seen that video, is because they kept butt dialing. They kept dialing people on my contact list randomly because of the weird touch controls. And one of the things I'll tell you right out of the box with these is you don't have touch controls. That was a huge instantaneous win for me on the Bowers and Wilkins PX series. No touch controls, actual physical controls. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for doing that. You have no idea how annoying this touch control thing is. The other thing that I love about these right out of the box is no assistance built into the headphones. Now, you can access the assistance if you long press on the physical button on some of your phones, but it doesn't have Alexa and all that other privacy invading junk that barely works anyways built into the headphones. That was another huge win for these. But we've tried Intones, Monocos, Sennheiser HD518s, and my favorite headphones, of course, they're only wired, where these are wireless and wired capable, was the Audio-Technica 8900 Airs. Those, to me, are some of the greatest headphones I've ever put on my ears, again, within the budgets that I can afford. I have a big passion for a good pair of headphones. Let's get in and find out what I think of the Bowers and Wilkins PX series headphones. Now, I've already covered two major things that really make these headphones, these Bluetooth headphones specifically, a step above the rest because of not having any stupid built-in assistant software, keeping things very simple with no touch controls, actually having physical buttons. But the build materials used to make these is also something quite impressive. For instance, the ear pads here are made of leather, but with ballistic nylon all around them. So it's just something where they're taking that extra time to put a little more extra quality into the creation of these. But that's not all here, because they also have a woven carbon fiber composite arms. So the arms are very strong. As you can see, I can twist and bend and move and flip, and you're not going to break these very easily. I even love how they've tucked the wire into this frame here so that it's not going to pinch on itself. It's not going to easily break. You're not going to get tangled. Some headphones have the wire kind of hanging off or out from these arms here. And of course, that just means that if you walk by something that's sticking out, it could grab it, rip it, tear it off. But in this case, it's laid inside of the actual metal arm itself. Very smooth action when you're retracting these or putting them back in. And you could tell that they really put a lot of thought into the overall quality of these headphones, including a very comfortable memory foam-like band here at the top to keep your head from really feeling too much pressure. One of the things I love about these headphones is that there's no frills here. When I talk about no frills, there's everything I need, but not with technology that's not fully baked and not fully worked out. We have physical toggle switches here, like volume up. We have a multi-function button, volume down, noise cancellation button, and then of course a power toggle. Everything you need to, whether you're answering phone calls, which the phone calls on this sound okay. They're really not meant to be your go-to for work every single day, but if you need to answer phone call, you can. There's some tinniness and airiness. I tested it out with a friend, but they could hear everything, but they could also hear a lot of background noise. So not great, but not expected to be, because what I'm really interested in is the drivers. I want to hear the music. I want to hear what the sound stage is on these headphones. So I want them to be comfortable. And I think that the Bowers and Wilkins covered comfort perfectly. They are a little on the heavier side, but you kind of forget about them there after the first minute or two. Now, I will tell you, if you're doing anything active, like I was running around the house with these headphones on, they're not really a sports headphone. They're not made for working out and those kind of things. And in that case, the leather started to kind of get hot. And after a little while, with the sweating and things, it started to kind of feel uncomfortable. So if you're going to be doing a lot of activity with these headphones, I don't recommend them. These are really for relaxed, easy listening, whether you're traveling on the plane, you're sitting on a bus, in a car, or you're at home and you're just wanting to relax with a nice cocktail and listen to your favorite tunes. That's where these headphones kick butt. Couple things about the features on this. You get Bluetooth 4.1 with aptX HD. Now, it's a good Bluetooth. You can connect it to multiple devices. The 4.1 technology is great, but I will tell you that the range on these was, in my opinion, a little subpar. You're looking at about 100 feet. I started experiencing breakups, especially when it was around corners. And of course, it depends on what your home is made of and how thin the walls are and all of that type of stuff. But I wasn't super impressed with the range. I have seen others who covered this who were really impressed and were getting 250 feet or more. That hasn't been my experience. I was pairing these with an iPhone 12 as a reference. So keep that in mind. If you're wanting to maybe put your phone, you're at a gym. Again, I don't think you should be working out with these, but if you're putting your phone away somewhere and you plan to walk away a long distance, you're not going to have a ton of range. At least I didn't experience a ton of range with these. You get 22 hours of active battery life. I would say it's more like 25. I think they actually undersold the battery life on these headphones a little bit. 3-hour recharge time. You've got an impedance that's somewhere around the 20 ohms, and that's going to be perfect for your phones and plugging into your computer and those things. There's plenty of power there to power these, though not to their full potential. I found that, number one, the first thing you're going to want to do with these headphones is break them in. These are definitely headphones you want to run at very loud music for 24 to 48 hours before you really experience them, because they don't open up until they've been broken in a little bit. And you might be disappointed the first time you put them on your head, especially if you're listening to bassy music, if you don't do that. Number two, I highly recommend running these through a headphone amplifier. I have one of these Fios here, the E11, and I'm telling you, you put an amplifier to these. Of course, this is going to be in a wired setup, and plug it into your phone. You're just going to be blown away by how the lows really open up. So if you're somebody who really likes that bass, you need to power these speakers inside to get that response that you're wanting back, that kind of thumping, and you can do that with a good amp. One thing I would have loved to seen is a version with these that had an amp built in, so you're getting that full power out of them no matter what. Of course, you would lose some battery life and things out of that, but I think that would make these the near perfect headphone out on the market today. The one frill I would say these headphones have is they do have a sensor so that when you put them down, they will automatically shut off the music. Now you can go into the app and turn that feature off if you want, but it's a nice feature. Again, if you have several different noise canceling scenarios that you can set in the app itself, whether you're walking through the city, you're on a flight, you're at home, those type of things, you can kind of adjust the noise cancellation or turn it off altogether. And in most situations, I suggest you turn it off altogether unless you really need that noise canceling feature, because they sound much better without noise canceling on. In my opinion, the noise canceling is okay. It's not the best noise canceling I've heard, but it does the job. Probably one of my favorite features on these headphones is the fact that it uses USB-C. Finally, we're starting to see standards here where you get many different electronic devices and you have USB-C charging capability. These have USB-C charging, so if you have a USB-C cable, of course it comes with one. Now I want to get into the sound stage, what you've been waiting for. I got to tell you, there is a certain playlist of music that I have when I want to test out headphones. And you can judge me, you can make fun of me, all you want with the music that I choose here. but this is my go-to. This is how I know if the headphones I'm putting on are good or bad for my listening taste. The first thing is the Phantom of the Opera. No, I'm not sophisticated. I don't like to go to the plays, but that music has, that particular song has the most amazing range from low to high and vocals in there. And if you're really wanting to hear how your headphones perform in the mids and highs and how the treble can really kick up, I think this Phantom of the Opera song is perfect for that. I closed my eyes, I laid back, I turned the volume all the way up, I played this song. When it was done, it took my breath away how clean and good the sound is. Not exaggerating. That is exactly what happened, the experience that I had with them. It was just that high, that piercing, that beautiful tone that they had with that particular music. But then I switched into a different style of music where I went into Skrillex and Korn. Now, this is more of like a dubstep slash metal. It was clean and open, but the bass was really subtle. And that's where I get into, you really need to break these headphones in so that that bass can open up, kind of loosen them up a little bit so that you get more of that thumping. The bass still isn't fantastic. That is the one area of these. If you are somebody who listens to a lot of rap and that type of music, you may be disappointed with these because you're not going to get that beats kind of thumping that some people really like or enjoy. Unless, of course, you pair it with something that can really power it, like an extra amplifier here. If you get a headphone amplifier and you hook that up to these in a wired format, you will get that thumping. You will get it to where you're wanting to turn it down because it's thumping so good and so solid. But it does okay with that music. You know, once those, again, that kind of those fake low, ridiculously low hits happen in dubstep, it kind of fades out and you start to realize, hey, you've got headphones on. But up until that point, I think it sounds wonderful. Slipknot, again, this is really heavy metal. You can feel that deep kick drum. You could easily distinguish all the different instruments in there. You could listen and hear the artist taking breaths as he was singing. The mids and highs are all the rage here with these headphones. They are unstoppable. They're impeccable. They're near perfection, honestly. Some of the best I've ever heard in any headphone that I've put on my head. Another test that I did with these is I plugged them into my pre-Sonos on my computer. And again, once you plug them in and you could fully power these headphones here, they just, if you're listening to a music like a Nicki Minaj or anything else in there that's got those kind of ridiculously low beats that you want to hear the thump on, that's where you'll hear it in these. If you keep them in Bluetooth mode, you're still going to have an amazing listening experience. Those lows just aren't going to be as poppy as maybe you want them with that kind of music. Now, I mentioned editing a podcast with these headphones. I was using the Focal Spheres. I spent a couple minutes with editing using the Focal Spheres, and then I switched to these. Again, these have so much more detail. Not surprised. One's an in-ear headphone, and these, of course, are more of your closed back over-ear headphones, and they just make a huge difference. I was able to pick up on things that I was missing with the Focal Sphere. So if you want to use headphones for not only music listening, but editing, because this soundstage is so amazing in the mids and highs and for vocals, I think you're just going to have a fabulous experience here, a breathtaking experience. If you find that song that you have that has just amazing highs and vocals in there, these might make you cry. You might have to tell people you've been cutting an onion. They're that dang good in that realm of the soundstage. All right, so to wrap up my first experience with Bowers and Wilkins headphones, this is my first pair ever. I gotta say, I'm very, very impressed. Are there things they could do to improve them? Aesthetically, I think they're some of the best looking headphones. They're very comfortable. I don't have any complaints in that department. They fit my head very well. I got a big head. Didn't realize that. In one video, I said I had a small head, and then people in the comments were like, no, you got a big head, dude. So I realized at that moment, it was self-reflection that I have a big head, and they were able to stretch and fit that big head quite well. So aesthetically, I think they're gorgeous. The soundstage is amazing. Your highs and mids, if you're listening to things like rock and roll, if you're listening to country, if you're listening to symphony and musical scores and jazz and things like that, these will blow your mind. If you mostly listen to rap, depending on your listening style. If it's a lot of that deep bass and you want that thump popping in your ear like a rattling trunk of a Honda passing by, then you probably want to go with the Beats. You're not going to want to go with these. Or if you do, then power them with an amplifier or plug them into your computer with an amplifier, and then you'll get that thumping that you want, and it will definitely give you some pop, way more pop than you're going to get out of those Beats headphones. Believe me on that. So as far as the soundstage goes, very impressed. I will be keeping these headphones. I will definitely not be sending them back. I love that they removed the touch controls. I love that there's no stupid assistance in there. They kept all the frills away, but put all of their work into things that matter most, the actual sound stage and quality of the build in these. So that's it. That's my review. I hope you've enjoyed this. I also want to tell you, please check out my sponsor, which helps to make sure that I can keep these videos going, and they are the greatest password manager in the world. I'm talking about Bitwarden. Go to bitwarden.com/DLN. That's the password manager I trusted ever before they were a sponsor. I'm also on the Destination Linux podcast. I'm on the Hardware Addicts podcast. We do a lot of work in the security and privacy realm. Believe me when I tell you, Bitwarden is the very best. Not only are they open source, they have third-party companies come in and audit to make sure your passwords stay secure. So go to bitwarden.com/DLN. Check them out. Again, thank you to all my patrons for your support. Couldn't do this stuff without you. And until next time, get out there and fill your brains.
Don't forget to subscribe! And thank them if you like this video.